Okay, hello everybody. We're live again on this beautiful, wonderful Thursday afternoon. This is Deborah Jones. I'm your Blue Table Talk host. And tonight we'll have with us Robert Walker, who's a candidate for Ward 3. But before we get to him, we always have to do a little house cleaning. We still on with COVID. COVID hasn't changed. The pandemic is still here. And we haven't changed. So, please, everybody, go ahead and get fully vaccinated. I heard today that we have 56 million people fully vaccinated. If you do the Pfizer and the Moderna, there are two vaccines. If you do Johnson & Johnson, there is only one. And so let's get fully vaccinated and take care of ourselves. You still have to do the 3 W's, wash your hands, wear a mask and watch your distance. So do those 3 W's and take care of yourself. And when you take care of yourself, you take care of others. So, we can't let our guard down right now, because it does not mean that that it's over. It means that we're getting closer to the mark. So let's take care of ourselves and do what we need to do. Remember that if you think that you have COVID, please go and get tested for it. Do not try to spread it to another person. You can go to any of the urgent care, any one of the urgent care. Now all the urgent cares are testing you for COVID, and some of them might ask for money, a fee, but some of them just ask for your insurance card. I know Beaumont Urgent Care at 3650 North Major Drive, Suite A, they just want your insurance card. But if you don't have insurance, yes, you do have to pay. So go there and get tested. Your MD Kids Pediatrics on 490 I-10 North Frontage Road, Suite 100. You can go there and get tested. Area code 409-212-9988. Krista's Prompt 2. They like I said, they always do their testing on Saturdays, but they do their vaccines Monday through Fridays. On Saturdays, they get tested for it. And so, like I said, all of the urgent cares are doing it, like Beaumont Urgent Care on College Street. They're doing it. Everybody's really doing it for testing. Not everybody's doing it for vaccine. So just remember, most of them are doing rapid testing, which is 15 minutes. And so let's go over there and get vaccine for the COVID test. And come on, y'all. Let's stay awake. Okay, now we're close to voting. Today was the last day to register to vote. I hope that you did register to vote, and if you did, early voting starts Monday, April the 19th, 2021. It ends on a Tuesday, April 27th, 2021. The last day to apply for the ballot by mail, which is usually people 65 or anybody that has some type of condition. The ballot by mail, the last day to apply for is April 20th, and the last day to receive the ballot by mail in the courthouse is Saturday, April 1st. Now, if you don't sign up, if you have that ballot by mail in your hand and you want to go in and vote in person, you can do that, but make sure you have that ballot by mail in your hand, because they'll send you away and tell you, we need that, or they'll even call down and tell you that call down to the registration office, see if you did not send it in, but they still want to revive that ballot by mail. Okay, so look, when you get to voting and to that machine to vote, there are 15 propositions on there. I need you to go ahead and try to read these propositions, understand them, so that you won't get in there and just vote for or against anything that you're not supposed to do. If you don't understand it, ask someone to explain it to you, because there are 15 propositions on there. There might be a little more, but I know there are 15 on there. So let's go ahead and get those propositions ready. And you, like I said, read them or have somebody else to read them for you and explain it to you. Okay, so now Sunday marks 53 years that Dr. Martin Luther King passed away, the assassination of him. So we are now down to like voter suppression and people trying to stop us from voting, and people down to going back to like the Jim Crow days. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that, because we already hollering Black Lives Matter. So you better make sure that Black Lives Matter and vote. This is what we are about, voting. This is day 4 of the George Floyd trial. So if you hadn't been looking at it, you need to start looking at it. Watch it. Okay, let me talk about who's running in our local elections. We have our mayors, which is Roy West, Brigadier Hernandez Smith, W.L. Pate, Robin Mouton, LaShawn Proctor. Those are the people who are running for mayor. At large, we have A.J. Turner, Abbott A.J. Turner, Randy Philshaw, James Eller Jr., Elias Ibarra, Brian Nefo, and Tahar Karashi. Those are the people who are running for at large, councilman at large. Councilman at large, Ward 1, Taylor Neal. Councilman at large, Ward 2, Mike Guest, Miles Haynes, Alfred Dean. Councilman at large, Ward 3, Aldwin Samuel, Robert Walker. Councilman at large, Ward 4, Brandon Johnson, Kevin Reese, Charles Durio. Those are your people who are running for local election for election May 1st. So remember, early voting starts April 19th. So let's see what we got here. So tonight we have the pleasure of meeting and me introducing to you Robert E. Walker, our city councilman, Ward 3. So good afternoon, Mr. Walker. How are you tonight?
I'm great. How about yourself?
I am just peachy.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for accepting. Look, I didn't get an introduction on you, so let's start with you introducing yourself.
All right. My name is Robert Walker. I'm 29 years old. I'm a product of Beaumont. I was born and raised in the South End, and so I'm not new to Ward 3. Ward 3 has been ingrained into my life. I'm a 2009 graduate of Central High School. I'm currently the senior pastor of Greater St. Paul Baptist Church here in the city of Beaumont. I've served as pastor for the last 3 years. I'm also a collision estimator at Collision and Classics. In addition to that, I'm a student at College of Biblical Studies in Houston, Texas, where I'm pursuing a bachelor's in biblical studies with a minor in pastoral ministries. I'm a member of several organizations, including the NAACP and the National Action Network, to name a few. I'm also a member of the Baptist Ministers Union of Beaumont and Vicinity, where I serve on several committees, one in particular being the Citywide Youth Revival Committee. I serve as the co-chair of that committee. And so service is in my blood and effecting change is in my blood.
Oh, great. So I heard you say you were a minister?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I've been preaching now since 2009, publicly preaching. So ask my family, they'll tell you I started in the garage at about 6, but publicly since 2009, 2 weeks after high school.
Okay. So you said that you were running for the Ward, Councilman Ward 3. So what's the vicinity of Ward 3? How far does it reach out?
Ward 3 is actually the biggest ward in the city. It encompasses everything if you're coming down Washington, everything on the left side of Washington, those avenues, the South End, the North End, Helbig area, Lucas Street, College Street, downtown. And so it encompasses a great deal of the city of Beaumont. And like I said, it's the largest part of the city, but it's the most historic part of the city. And in my opinion, part of the city that's brimming with possibility and just waiting for the right representation to make it what it should be.
So does it says Ward 3 is encompass South End part. Where does it stop? Because it looked like Ward 4 kind of picks up somewhere up in there.
Washington and 4th is where it begins and ends.
Okay.
So everything on the right side of Washington going into South Park is where it stops. And on the freeway side of 4th Street is where it stops there.
Cool. I wasn't born in the South End, but I lived in the South End for a couple of years. So I never knew how those wards work. So
yeah. Well, once you're part of the South End, you're always a part of the South
Oh,
End. So.
you already know. You already know. So what has prepared you for this position for city councilman member?
I think that my work as a pastor and my work as a collision estimator, and even me being a part of these various organizations has prepared me for this position in church and even in these organizations and even at work. I'm always put into positions where I have to serve individuals. I'm always in the business of engaging every day. Uh, I'm advocating for individuals. I'm trying to make sure that these individuals that I come in contact with know that they are important, know that I care about their needs, that I hear them, that I'm advocating for them. These jobs that I do on a daily basis require that I listen with intent, that I weigh all the options, and that I communicate the necessary information to benefit not only my clients at work, but also my congregants at church. More so, these jobs that I do require teamwork, and to be on council and to get anything passed, you have to work as a team. I work great with all kinds of leaders to ensure that things are moving forward. And so I feel that that is what has prepared me for this position as councilman for Ward 3.
Now you're going from the South End to the North End, and that's a big area. That's a large area. You think
Yes, ma'am.
there are a lot of people who want things done, and they want it done. They don't want it done now. They want it done yesterday. So
Right.
are you available for these people?
You said, am I available for them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, most definitely. I pride myself on being an individual that you can reach out to, and someone that you can communicate with. And, like you said, it encompasses a great deal of individuals and a great deal of the city. And everybody wants things done now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't blame them. I mean, we've evolved as a society to a microwave kind of society that, we want everything instant.
Instantly.
And I understand that. And I think that's where the right representation comes in at. Because if you can communicate effectively to the voters and to the citizens of your ward that this is what you requested, this is what I'm doing in order to get that accomplished, then I think they'll understand that it takes time for things to happen, that things are not done overnight.
Right.
And so, like I said, I pride myself on being an individual who you can approach and you have access to. I'm not running from nobody, and I'm not scared of nobody. So my number is public. It's been public on Facebook. I've had the same number since I was in 6th grade. So if anybody needs me, want to contact me, you can pick up the phone, and if I don't answer, I'm sure to call you back
Right.
to get things accomplished.
Right. So you say you're not running from anyone, right?
No, ma'am.
We'll see. But hold on, let me talk to my viewers. Okay, if you're viewing this podcast, please hit your share button so that everybody else could see what's going on and meet Robert E. Walker, who's running for City Councilman Ward 3. Hit the share button and let them know he's on right now. Okay, so this is your first time running for City Council. So what do you think the duties of a City Councilman is?
In general, the City Council as a whole is a group of individuals that have been elected by the citizens of that specific ward that they're representing to serve as the legislative body of government. The City Council main job is representing the interest of those who voted them into office. In essence, they're the ones that gets things started. The duty of the council is to listen to the voters. It's to hear what the voters have to say, to evaluate and weigh their concerns and submit those concerns to the city manager and allow his or her administration to get those things done. And the city manager, takes those concerns to their department heads. And so, in a nutshell, the city council member is tasked with approving budgets, in proposing and resolving ordinances that will enable for a better quality of living for the citizens that they represent.
Oh, cool. So, do you what makes you stand out from any opponent that's running against you?
Several things that make me stand out. In every aspect of life, no matter what I'm involved in, whether it be work as a collision estimator, or whether it be pastoring and preaching at my church. And I touched on this earlier, but my number one priority is always serving the people that I come in contact with. I'm legitimately, at my core, a servant of the people. And understand this, a lot of people serve the people, but not many are servants of the people. Over the years, through both my church work and my secular work, I've been allowed to develop the necessary ability to see the needs of people. I got a sense of empathy, I would say, or a sense of awareness that allows me to understand what other people are going through. And another thing is my ability to inspire and my ability to create change. Lastly, and probably the most important, is my ability to work as a team. And I touched on that earlier as well, that we keep hearing that if you want anything passed in council, it's going to take 4 votes. With that being said, we cannot get change and betterment for our city and for our ward without coming together. And again, I pride myself on being able to get along with individuals. I pride myself on being able to hear out my teammates. And I'm simply saying we can't stand alone. We all have to be on the same page without compromising our beliefs and our morals for the sake of, just doing it.
Mm-hmm. So, you know that the South End,
Mm-hmm.
along with the North End, have some major issues.
Right.
So, what is one plan that you plan to address about the major issues that's going on in the South End and the North End?
Personally, the number one issue that I keep coming across, whether it be in face-to-face conversations or just reading on Facebook and other social media, is when it comes to discussing Beaumont, infrastructure and street repavement is always at the top of the list. And the good thing about that is that it seems to be the platform that every candidate who's running right now is standing on. And so with that, it takes 4 votes thing being in place. I think that's something that's actually going to be top priority for everybody, and something that should easily get done, since it seems that everybody's on the same page with that. But even aside from that, my issue is more notably the infrastructure in Ward 3. I mentioned before in recent conversations that the city does what's called a pavement condition index. And what happens is the city contracts a company to come in and they grade our streets by percentage. And out of that assessment, the city publishes a list of all the streets and what grade this third party company had given them. And about a month or so ago at our city council meeting, Bart Burkowski, who's the director of public works and technology services, made the statement that the streets that ranked under 60% are the streets that get top priority. And of that list, when I did a random search, every last street under 60% falls in Ward 3. And so I understand that Beaumont's not a new city. I understand that Ward 3 is the oldest and the most historic part of the city, but I can't seem to understand why it's taking so long to get improvements in our community. And that question's always responded with, there's a budget for that. But I also believe that the way the money is budgeted should be evaluated. And I'm not saying this is not happening, but what's allocated to each ward should be on a need basis and not an equal basis. Because there are some areas of our city that are better off as far as streets than other areas. So infrastructure, number one.
So question is who you think lives? I know you know. I'm just throwing this out. Lives in the South End and the North End. What nationality?
It's predominantly African American and Hispanic.
So you think that's why that's not getting it done?
I would like to not think that.
But let's be realistic.
Yeah, realistically speaking, I do think that is the case. And I also have to add that it's neglect on the part of city leadership as well.
Because we fighting for it, right?
Right.
I drove down, not to cut you off, but I drove down Helbig Road and I had to drive 3 miles because it's messed up. No, don't get me wrong, they're working on it. But look like it's taking them a year to work on Helbig Road.
Right.
So,
right.
And there are some other roads that's they're working on, but
and one of the issues I have is that we take care of major roads, Helbig Road, Washington, but these off streets where residents actually live have to tear their car up to get to their house. And the city looks at that and say, that's not top priority because it's not a heavily populated road. So you mean every time I go to the grocery store, I got to tear my car up because my road isn't heavily populated, so I'm not top priority. That's an issue.
Helbig Road is a popular road. I mean, you have
true. I agree.
Yeah. Yes.
I totally agree. But how long has Helbig been like that? And that's an issue too. It's exactly. And now it's finally to the point where it's getting fixed, but it took all that time to actually get it done. And that's an issue.
Would that be a major issue for you to implement? Fixing the
time? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If you could change one thing in the zoning code, what would it be and why?
I don't know much about the zoning code, but before I answer that, let me say that, like with everything, the zoning code has its goods and it has its bads. I have talked with several real estate developers and contractors and even residents who own private dwellings in our city. And the concern that keeps coming up in conversation is that it seems that there are too many hands or too many avenues to get something accomplished. There are essentially 3 areas when it comes to building and development. There's commercial, there's residential, and there's industrial. And so when you take something like a residential property and you decide you want to add on and you pull a permit to get the work done, and then you're told that you need a different permit because the permit you have is for a single dwelling and not a duplex. Because under the umbrella of residential, you have single family, you have apartment, you have duplex, and so many others. But the point I'm trying to make is that paperwork and footwork could be cut down if these zoning codes were revitalized and made more conducive for local development.
In your community, just in your ward, okay? We're speaking of your ward. How would you plan to involve the residents in decision making?
Social media. As I've stated 2 or 3 times during this discussion, as a member of council, you are an advocate for your voters. In essence, you are the bridge between them and the city manager. You're their voice. And so the city provides each council member with a personal email. At the very least, I would encourage the citizens to email me what they think is best for them as it relates to issues and concerns. Uh, and so, I mean, I know we have a period during our weekly city council meeting where citizens can speak, but I want to hear from them directly. Uh, and like I said, social media, I'm a big user of social media.
But
And so that's another
everybody's not a user of social media. Everybody don't have
that
Facebook. Everybody don't do you.
I totally agree.
Everybody
I totally agree.
don't go to city council meeting. So how are you gonna reach them in order for them to make a decision on what's going on?
Like I said, the city provides a personal email for one. And like
No,
I stated earlier, that I'm not running from anyone. So my number is available. I want direct access with the people who would vote me into office. I want to come to your house. I want to sit on your porch. I want you to come to me and explain to me what your concerns are. And I want to address your concerns directly to show you that I do care about what you're going through and what we're going through as a ward.
so your little door knocker that you pass out, have you been, going around the city and passing out around?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is your email address on there or your phone number on there? Or
My email address is on there.
Okay, that's your personal email.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, that's your personal email. So because that'd be a good way for them to contact you. But like
Yes,
I said, everybody's not technology savvy, so I don't know. I guess they're gonna have to go to the neighbor and say, "Hey, can you contact this man?"
but
that might
no, like I said,
backing up.
my number is out there. So and I don't mind giving it out if anyone was to ask.
Yeah. I didn't mean to cut you off or anything like that.
No, not at all.
It's
your show. I'm just going along with the flow.
But we want to know, what is your plan? You know what I mean? What is your plan for this community, for your area? Because you have to have a plan.
Yes, ma'am, for sure.
And we got to hold you accountable for what you say. And when we go to vote for whomever, the mayor and the councilmen, we've got to know who we voting for. We're not just playing around, because stuff have happened too many times that we just go in there and just hit the number, hit number one, hit number two.
I totally agree.
We don't even know who we voting for.
Exactly, and that's why platforms like this are important.
Yeah, that's why I want to know who Robert Walker is. I want to know what his plan is. I want to know if he's gonna hold up against that. I'm gonna hold you accountable for it.
Please do.
You're gonna knock on my door, I'm gonna knock on your door. You see what I'm saying?
I appreciate that. That's what I need. And leaders should be held accountable.
Yes, it needs to be held accountable, and in order for everybody to be settled. I mean, you can't solve everything.
True.
You know what I'm saying? You can't solve, and we can't expect you to solve everything. So we just like Biden, he can't run this whole city. He need help.
Right.
Country, he needs help.
Now, I agree that elected officials can't solve everything, but it goes back to that empathy and the fact that, I hear you and I'm trying. Even if I can't do it, this is what I've done, trying to get that accomplished for you.
Right. So what would you do if you lose? Will you continue to support your community?
Of course. Losing won't change anything for me. Losing won't change the love and the compassion that I have for the city of Beaumont and for Ward 3. Losing won't change my desire to see change and betterment for Ward 3. Without any doubt or hesitation, I will continue to support my community as well as my city.
So in what way?
For me, let me put it like this. For me, it's not about losing. Now, of course, like everyone else, I want to win. But for me, this is about serving. This is about making a change and making things better, making lives better for the citizens of Ward 3. And so whether I win or lose, winning puts me in a better position to make that change. But that change is not contingent on me assuming the office of councilman.
Mm-hmm.
If me running for city council doesn't do anything else, it empowers the younger generation and shows the young leaders of our city that someone young and someone from the community can set out for something greater.
Yeah.
It shows them that your past, your upbringing, nor your resources or the lack thereof can hinder you from accomplishing what you set out to do.
Right, right, right. And I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you that you taking that first step. You know,
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
because people, so many people have just sat down and just won't do anything. You know,
Right.
you're in my vicinity now, so I need to know what will you do to help Ward 3 to be a better, to get as close as to Ward 4 is all over. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm. Right.
Because not Ward 4, Ward 2
Ward
with
two.
yeah, Ward 2 is and better because they're getting what they need out there.
Right. I
Ward 3,
totally agree.
yeah, so Ward 3 needs to step up their game. You got to step it up.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
I get to preach around here. And,
Go ahead.
you need to hold on now, Miss Deborah. So, okay, so if someone came to you with a proposal to build a new piece of public infrastructure in our city or even our community, how would you evaluate whether that project is worth implementing?
The first and foremost, with everything, um, what benefit is it to our citizens? Will it create jobs? Will it bring revenue to our city? There's a big push right now for our city and our school system to work together. And so another question that comes to mind is, will this be something to keep our high school graduates in Beaumont? Um, because let's be real, a lot of things may sound good and a
Mhm.
lot of things may look good on paper. But if there's no benefit, then I think it should be reevaluated. But on the other hand, it could be something beneficial and it could be something that brings investment or something that brings cash flow to our city, but the timing might not be right. And so there's a lot that goes into what would be worth implementing. And it goes back to having a councilman that's able to work together. Goes back to having a council that has common interest, and that's not the interest of self and self agendas, but it's the interest of our city, the interest of the voters who put the council into office in the first place.
Mhm. I have a question out here, Azimuta. Thank you guys for putting questions out. We need those questions, y'all. Come on, I see y'all watching. I want y'all to put these questions out there. So, Azimuta, hi Isaac. What's one thing you want to accomplish if you get in office, and what is your plan to get it done? We need plans.
Okay. Several things I want to accomplish. First and foremost, as I mentioned, infrastructure improvements is my number one concern. And as I mentioned, it's on the top of the list for a lot of candidates. And so, with us coming together, having that same mindset, I think it should be something easily accomplished. My plan to get it done is reevaluating, as I stated, the budget of the city of Beaumont and finding out how much money is actually allocated for infrastructure in specific areas. Because if more money is in the infrastructure budget for Ward 2 than it is for Ward 3, then that's something that, as the councilman for Ward 3, I need to speak up and find out why that's the case. Because the infrastructure is a whole lot better in Ward 2 than it is in Ward 3. So we look at budgets, we see how things are allocated and what's budgeted to these specific areas. And then we look at possible grants and things of that nature, something that wouldn't raise the taxes of the citizens in those areas.
So how does one ward get more money than the other wards?
Now that I'm not sure of. I'm sure that's
What are they doing that money? Are they pulling from all the rest of the ward and putting it in that one particular ward? How does all that work?
I honestly don't know. I'm not in the office to give that answer. But if I am elected, I would love to find out how those monies are allocated to each specific ward. I'm sure it goes through the city manager's office and his administration. And I know that the council votes on the budget. Uh, so you would think that a councilman whose ward is being neglected or being stagnant or not getting the improvements that it needs, that councilman or councilwoman would speak up for the citizens in their area. Not like I said, I can't say that's not happening. I'm just going by what I see as I drive down the street every day.
Right, right. Where's your favorite place to spend in Beaumont?
I'm really a homebody, but I love Mexican food too. So Elena's is one of my favorite places, as well as my church. I'm actually here now. I'm always at my church. It's my safe place, place where I can go and just unwind and just hang out.
You like to go to? Do you like to go to like black-owned restaurants and stuff like that?
I do. Looking to try that new Link place over on 11th Street.
Uh-huh.
People are talking real good about that place.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm looking to try that one.
I'm gonna have to find it because I heard it was a whole lot of people there Saturday. I think it was Saturday. The
Yeah, I
lines.
believe so. That's when
Yeah.
they had their soft opening last week, and
Yeah.
so people flooded the place.
Right.
But they getting a lot of good press on social media. So I'm like, okay, I got to try that one out.
Yeah, I got my friend Isaac on here. He could tell you where it's at. Okay, so what is your take on downtown on downtown area, and how could someone make it successful? Now downtown is my place. I mean, when I lived in the South End, all we did was go downtown. We walked downtown.
Yeah.
We didn't ride. We walked. We didn't even take the bus. We walked downtown because it was so close.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite place. And they have stores out there, that a lot of stores out there, but now they have nothing.
Right. When I was growing up, my grandmother lived next door to us on Frederick, and me and her and my grandfather, we used to walk to downtown as well. My grandmother was a thrift shopper, and so she'd be at the Treasure House and Salvation Army and all those places all the time. But like you said, things have declined downtown. Downtown has been stagnant for a while now. But I see an area with tons of potential. I see an area that has possibility. But in order for downtown Beaumont to be what it should be or what it used to be, it's going to take passion. It's going to take a vision. I personally know an individual that I'm really connected to, who recently made a purchase downtown, who bought the old number one fire station, who's looking at doing business there and is looking to purchase more downtown. But in order for that to take place, there's a stigma downtown that one is the crime is too high, which I don't understand because nobody goes downtown.
Down.
And businesses seem to don't want to move downtown because they're the people who use their facilities or offices said that it's too far to drive. It's going out of the way, which doesn't make sense to me either, because you can get from one side of Beaumont to the other side in 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. So as far as anybody making it successful, it's going to first of all require a desire to do so. Mm-hmm. It's going to take some money, and it's going to take a clear understanding of what is needed and what is necessary in our city. And if I may, I think that should start with the city. Hold investor workshops. Take every building that's vacant downtown and find a bank that's ready to loan money to individuals. Call investors in and say, listen, we went to these buildings. This is how much it's going to take to occupy these buildings. We have the bank here right now ready to write checks. Who's ready to make a deal right now? No tabling it till next week. Let's put people in these buildings today.
So that's your take on it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's go to our viewer and see what she's saying. This is Jocelyn West. Hey, Jocelyn, how are you today? She said trees on city properties are trimmed annually in some wards, but not in Ward 3. what would you do to ensure that it will get done in Ward 3?
I would contact.
I've called down there to trim some trees around my property, and every time they came out, they said, "Oh, you got to get in touch with so and so. You have to get in touch with this person." I mean, I might have called everybody. If I see the trimming truck coming, I'm gonna call that number. It's a bogus number because nobody answers.
Yeah, right. In my opinion, 311 doesn't work. And like I stated with the zoning code, there's too many hands or too many avenues to get things accomplished in Beaumont. To answer that question in a long way around, I think everything should have direct access. You shouldn't have to call someone and then they direct you to this person and they direct you to that person and they direct you to that person. As a councilman for Ward 3, I would take it upon myself to, if those trees need to be trimmed, contact me and I'll contact who I need to contact to get that accomplished for you.
Jocelyn, I don't want my trees trimmed. I want my trees cut down.
I got people for that too.
My trees, cut them down. I had a raccoon run in my tree one time, and I cut every tree in my yard down.
Oh wow! You said they gotta go.
No more raccoons, no more trees. But yeah, okay. So people gonna be contacted. Like I said, if you got a plan in order, they're gonna be contacting you because they're gonna hold you accountable of just that question that she asked about these trees being trimmed.
Right, and please do. I want to know all the concerns, and I want to try my best to get those accomplished. If I can't, I'm going to let you know this is what I'm doing to work on it to get it accomplished.
Okay, so let's go to another. What does Ward 3 mean to you as far as its structure, making the area look better and dealing with its infrastructure? Well, we talked about infrastructure, no, but you got to deal with it. It's a lot of infrastructure, just not paving the streets.
Right. I mean, there's water issues. There's all kinds of things in Ward 3. My Ward 3 to me means improvement. It means evaluation and it means work. And it means work that I'm willing to do. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of many Ward 3 citizens when I say that we don't expect change overnight. And we don't expect something bigger, brighter, and better to come in a matter of days or weeks, but we do expect progress. We do expect for our voices and our desires to be considered and discussed. And as an elected councilman, if the citizens of Ward 3 would have me, I'm going to be that councilman that brings progress to Ward 3.
I don't know if you can answer this question for me because you're, like you said, you're not there right now. But if you were in office, how would you get me as a citizen who's not in your office working with you?
As far as someone who lives in the area?
Right. I know you guys work together. All the councilmen work together. I know that. And the mayor. I know all y'all work together to answer the question as far as, how we, what the people need. But how would you come say, Deborah Jones, I need your help. I need you to work with me on this project. How would you do that? Or will you be able to do that?
I think I will be able to. I think I've stated that I'm good with working together as teams. In fact,
teamwork.
I'm sorry.
Teamworks make a dream work.
Teamwork does make the dream work. Even as pastor, I don't make detrimental or tough decisions without consulting with the leaders of our church. And so I think my ability and my time doing that will carry over into council. I'm known as a people person. Some people say everybody likes me, and I always respond with who doesn't. And so I think that my work and as a pastor and collision estimator will carry over into that, to the point where I can bring out the need of Ward 3 to the other council members and get them to see that it's not only beneficial for those who live there, but even beneficial for the city as a whole. Because when Ward 3 starts to look better, then that means investment opportunities and revenue to the city will be brought over into other wards as well. So when you bring up one part of the city, you're bringing up the whole city.
What are the three step? What does Ward 3 mean? I'm sorry. Just ask the question. If elected, what three steps would you take to put your community firmer financially footing? You know.
I think it goes back to the statement I made earlier as it relates to reevaluating how the money in the city is spent and how it's budgeted. And so I suppose the first step would be reevaluating what we're already doing and what we're already spending. Speaking from experience, dealing with budgets and dealing with a budget where money is not readily accessible. Um, I speak from experience where there is already a current budget in place. As a newly elected councilman, I would be able to bring fresh eyes and fresh ideas to something that's already rolling. And number two would be consider branding our city. I mentioned this some time ago in discussion. Let our city work for us. I understand that brands are perception based, and because of that, we can always combine capital and ideas in new ways to leverage Beaumont as a brand. You go to San Antonio, you expect to see a Riverwalk, you expect to see the Alamo. You go to Dallas, if you're a Cowboys fan, you expect to see the Dallas Cowboy Stadium. You go to Florida for Disney World. And so Beaumont needs something. Every city has a brand, and perhaps Beaumont just don't know what its brand is yet. And so when you look at it, it plays a part even into developing our city. Beaumont needs something that attracts individuals. And so, thirdly, and perhaps my most favorite, is that we invest in our citizens. Beaumont is filled with local businesses, but they're just that, they're local businesses. And so we should look into helping those local businesses go regional or even go global, which will in turn bring back money to our community.
Okay, Jocelyn West also says, we have a homeless problem. What are your plans to help deal with our homeless problem in Beaumont? Now, you know, like I know, in the north and the south end, you'll find a whole lot of homeless people walking around.
Mm-hmm.
They might be in the west end. I don't see it.
Right.
I see them in the south end and the north end. They might be even in Pear Orchard, but I don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see them in the south end and the north, and I ride all over Beaumont, all over Beaumont. You can ask anybody in my family. I'm all over Beaumont, but you don't see these homeless people just in the south and north. They're very visible. So what are your plans about helping these people by dealing with them?
I think. I mean, I know we have the Salvation Army, and we have these entities and organizations that are designed for helping homeless, provide them with meals and places to sleep and that kind of thing. But I think the city itself needs need a place for the homeless, and of course, you know, this place would have requirements where, you know, we not just give them a meal and a place to sleep for a night, but perhaps give them something that will carry them for the rest of their lives. A lot of the homeless community, it's no secret that they're dealing with some drug issues, um, and you know, the city should have something in place at their specific facility that brings them through drug rehabilitation classes, something that offers them jobs once they get clean, something to perhaps even a trade, so that they can provide a living for themselves and even their families if they have one. But just something in place as a city that the city provides, that not just give you a meal and say, here, go, but something to teach you how to fish and feed you forever.
Okay. Johnson, did that answer your question? Okay. So since we getting ready to wind it down and everything, give me your last words. How would you like to leave the viewers?
I want to leave the viewers with, you know, Ward 3 has been stagnant for so long. Ward 3 has been in a place of neglect for far too long, and it's time for a change. And that change begins on April 19th through the 27th, or on May 1st. And I'm number 1 on the ballot. So vote for change.
Okay, so you guys, you heard from Robert Walker tonight. And so you have to make your choice on who you want to be your city councilman in Ward 3. Now, I want to leave you guys with this. Don't forget that on Saturday, and I hope Ms. Reverend Walker, that you'll be here on Saturday. The Urban Podcasters will have a debate with all candidates running for election on Saturday, April the 3rd at 4:30 p.m. Tune into your favorite podcasters to listen and ask questions. And the hosts for the podcasters are DJ Man of DJ Man TV, Isaac Mouton, Tyrone Carmier of The Perspective, Floyd Hope of The Kickback, Tony Renfro of Knowledge is Power, and of course yours truly, Deborah Jones with Blue Table Talk. So tune in on Saturday. Don't let us down, because you need to hear every last one, from the mayor all the way down to your wards, on Saturday, April 3rd at 4:30 p.m. Tune in to one of your favorite podcasters. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and shut it down for tonight. And I appreciate Robert Walker for joining us tonight. And I hope you guys got your questions. Don't forget, y'all get the questions ready for Saturday. And when you come on, put them on the screen as you come in. If you're on Blue Table Talk, make sure they're coming in to me. If you're on any podcast, make sure they're coming into that podcast so that they will see the questions and then they can ask the candidates. Okay. So as usual, if I can help somebody as I pass along this way, then I know that my living shall not be in vain. God bless you and God keep you. It's my prayer. And don't forget, continue to watch that trial. Let's watch that trial, see what's going on with George Floyd's trial in MSNBC, in the MSNBC, and also CNN and your favorite newscasters. So God bless you. Good night.